Hello, beautiful people. We are on the last stage of our box, adding our 3D elements. Remember, none of the things that we make right now can be just formed from cutting out a shape into a slab of clay. We've already done that with our letter. So we are going to start with balls of clay, and we're going to form them with our fingers. So I'm making my first alien head. You saw me roll out the ball of clay, and now I'm pinching the sides, trying to get it. So that kind of looks like an alien head, but it's really thick. In fact, it's a little too thick. So even though I have this almost to the shape that I want it, I can't leave it this thick because I run the risk of it popping out. So I'm pinching into the clay to sort of make it look like a little bit of a bowl. No one's going to see this, but I definitely have reduced some of the mass from how thick it is. But look, you turn it over, it's still the same size, it looks the same. I'm pinching my little guy again. I'm going to make sure it's exactly the way that I want it, and it looks the way that I want it to look. And then I'm going to put it where I want it on the box. There it goes. That's going to be its home. Now, I'm noticing a little thing about its home is that it is not going to have any place for that air on the inside to escape. And our project is going to get smaller as it goes, so I'm going to have to figure out a way to make it escape. But until then, I'm going to poke some eyes in there. I'm going to use the back of a paintbrush to poke my eyes in. I don't just add big balls onto the top. I take something about the size of what I want my little eyeballs to be, and I just poke a little hole about halfway through. So there's its center eye, its right eye, and its left eye. I'm not going to leave just eye holes though, because then that looks a little funny. So I am going to take little itty bitty tiny balls of clay that I'm making right now, and I'm going to put those little tiny balls. See how tiny they are? This might be a little too big. Yep, it is. I have to cut it in half because it's way too big. But there it goes, and it fits perfectly in that little hole. And that's it. I have an eyeball. And now I have a second eyeball. And, wait for it, a third eyeball. So now I'm going to draw a little mouth in there. I don't want it to be too happy. I want this alien to look like he's going to come and take us over. So I have my little alien, it's got its little mouth, and now I have an idea. I have to make the air escape somehow. So I'm going to poke a little hole through the mouth to make the little air escape. The other thing I want to do to my eyeballs is my little alien, is I want to have little tentacles on it. So I'm going to make those up, and then I'm going to place all of them on top of my little box. The other thing is, I don't want the tentacles sort of being in the middle of his head. I want them towards the edge of his head. That's why I keep picking it up, so I can add his little tentacles on. If I put them up too high, they have a chance of just falling off, because gravity is not our friend at this point. So I want to make sure everything I put on, I am going to put on so it stays on entirely. So now here's my thing with the mouth. I'm going to draw it in really well, and then I'm going to double check and make sure that I'm going to have to cut all the way through. I'm going to draw on. We did this with everything that we've done so far, especially with the letter. I'm going to draw on where I have to slip and score, so I don't score too much, and I don't have all these rogue score marks that I have to clean up. Again, if you guys notice how aggressively I score everything, that's really important. Score as aggressively as you possibly can. This is also scored aggressively, and now I'm going to put slip on everything. Notice I put slip on my little guy. I'm putting slip on my box. And I'm going to score everything a second time. And then my little guy is going to go on the box. And he looks very cute. I do say so myself. And now I have to really stick my knife through there so that you barely see that his mouth is open, but that's going to be the hole that the air escapes from. So it doesn't have to be a big hole, and it can be hidden. It can be behind things. You can even put it in the top of your box. But if you have something solid, the moisture can't escape from the inside of the clay, so you make it hollow. But if you have a hollow thing, something with a hole on the inside, and you don't give that air somewhere to escape, the same thing can happen. Your project can blow up. We want to have about 3 additions onto our project. All 3 of them need to be handmade, which means we have to take the clay, pinch it out, make it into forms, and then add those forms onto our project. They don't look like much at first, but the more you play with them and the more you form them with your hands, the better they're going to look. So I'm going to have 2 aliens on mine and the rocket ship as the third. And again, I'm going to poke a little hole in my rocket so that you see the alien coming through. But the more you play with them, the more you form them, the better they're going to look. And then you're going to have an amazing project that you're going to be proud of. So, great job, everybody. Next stop, glazing.